Yeah, looking at the overall superhero prose landscape, Kid Sensation does probably come the closest to being like superheroes with a little bit of space opera towards the middle slash latter half of the series so far. But it also showcases why I'm not really going to have relationship drama in terms of, um, the main character having off again, on again kind of whiplash with like a particular woman, or even in the case of like say even if the main characters, so if even if some of them are women, I'm not going to have a seesaw back and forth between different guys, and that sort of thing. Like, yeah, sorry, that doesn't really appeal to me. Um, and based on some of the reviews I see for Kid Sensation, especially the latest book that dropped, because I only have the first 5 books, and I got the first 3 as a collection because I genuinely wanted to see what some of the other superhero prose people were doing, at least the ones that mix it with a fair amount of space opera. And so far, I've only found a handful that really have gone even within the same kind of wheelhouse that I'm going with superheroes. Like, usually a majority of superhero prose will have a more, kind of like urban feel, maybe a bit more Gotham rather than, Metropolis kind of aspect, because Metropolis was nice, bright and shiny, and, even though there was some crime there, since you had Superman watching over him, yeah, most of the criminals wouldn't get away with stuff, so I do a wink and a nod with that with New Ashbury and the fact that it's more fortified than most of the regular cities, because some people will try to get their ticket punched by saying like, yeah, I went after the banner cities, like and, yeah. They also don't realize that there's a whole lot of other things looking out for that particular city, because there's a few interesting things within it, but also other parts of the earth too. But then again, most of the magic community on earth isn't sitting on their ass waiting for bad things to happen. They're actively trying to counter the bad things. It's just that sometimes when you're writing, um, if you have too much of like the low level conflicts happen from time to time, it'll take readers away from the big overall main conflicts that are happening, or each big arc in each book. So that's the reason why I don't show every maneuver behind the scenes unless it's something that specifically forwards the plot. But again, that's just me. But to get back to a little bit with Kid Sensation, this is also the reason why I didn't start my heroes off with high school or middle school or even like college years or anything like that. I wanted to make sure I could time skip enough to where, yeah, showcase a few little highlights, but I'm not going to put the characters through that mode. That's kind of the reason why I like that Ithiana thing, because it does, time skip through the character. Like in terms of childhood, it'll highlight a handful of things that are really important for that character, but it doesn't stick to like, I gotta develop this character through a particular, like, this slice of 2 or 3 years of their life will be fully drawn out in the book. It's like, again, some stuff that has done that, especially with superhero prose, where the first few books is the character going through high school and then becoming a fully fledged, superhero, probably like towards the end of the first arc or first few sets of books. But I really wanted to put a dovetail on that, like, yeah, highlight when Star was first coming out, with her overall banner set up with her team. But yeah, I don't find it interesting to cover every little aspect. Like, even with Book Zero, I only went in a little bit here and there. Like, yes, the the Legion has training areas, they have rec rooms, and you know, basic stuff like for demis to test their stuff out, and you know, where they get rated, and you know, how they respond to things. Is this demi in it for, you know, fame or fortune, and or is this one in it for, you know, legit heroic purposes? That way they can kind of categorize, is this person more of like a self-sacrificing hero like Superman, or are they more kind of in it for themselves like Booster Gold, which Booster eventually, you know, becomes a bit more than that, but it kind of runs the gamut. But I only had to explain that in a couple of lines between some of the characters, and even showcasing some of the training stuff. You know, that's why I had Rune set up with where, you know, he can interact with some of the Legion stuff, and it'll showcase like, okay, this is what happens when people from other dimensions or other universes pop in to the primary universe. It's like, oh, they already have something for that. Like, they can tell by like a different set of vibrations, or the fact that this person isn't shown up properly within the weave or anything else, or to particular demi senses, because that does happen. And you'll see a little bit more of it with Toth's little bit of backstory. You know, there's just, I reveal certain parts of the onion at certain points. You know, because sometimes, like you'll see with the upcoming issue, I didn't forget about that Golem's heart. It's just that sometimes when I'm writing, I'll introduce a particular MacGuffin, but I'll have an idea of what I want to use it for. But then sometimes when you're writing, it's like, wait, what if I also do this with it? Then there you go. I don't always pin every little detail down to the minutia, just in case the story ends up taking a different turn. Not like a Whiplash, but like, oh, wait, I can conveniently use this to help further X, Y, or Z goal. You know, that sort of thing. So, yeah. Poor kid Sensation. I could tell by some of the reviews they don't appreciate that the X is basically leading him around by like his neck, or like, you know, like a woman dragging him around like he's wearing a collar. I don't think that fits very well. I know there's some relationships that probably have that dynamic where, you know, the woman is basically like henpecking the guy. And you know what, there could even be a reversal of that, but for me, when I'm writing, I'd rather just write relationships that are stable, and most of my conflict comes from the outside. A lot of external factors. Because I'd rather have most of the drama come from that. Or how a particular set of characters will overcome certain obstacles. You know, it's just the way that I am. Because so many stories have that element. Even though Uplift Protocol has a little bit of that element with Anna, I haven't really shown what the husband number 2, you know, husband 2.0 tryouts. I haven't really showcased him yet, because again, we have a whole series to get through. And eventually Anna's eyes will be opened. It's just not going to happen right now. I just, with Anna, wanted to showcase how somebody could be their own worst enemy. And slowly but surely, she'll eventually come around. Is it going to be all sunshine and happy days for her? Not for quite a while. She's pretty much fighting herself. That's just the kind of character I wanted to make with her, because sometimes that's a way you can showcase how a family can even heal later on. I mean, yeah, she's at odds with everybody pretty much right now, but that will soon change, and you know, you guys will see why later. But overall, yeah, when it comes to romantic relationships, I heavily prefer seeing a couple that's comfortable with each other, or, you know, at the very least, it's not like what do you call it, like oil and fire, where they're only there because they have like the hots for each other or something. It's like, nah. I want to see them actually work through things.